Hello, guys. I know we live in a very complex time, like in a history book, and there is so much chaos in the world, so many toxic politicians around. So, we do need to develop some working relaxation techniques, and I'm ready to share my Ukrainian experience. Do you know what helps me relax the best in this challenging time? Definitely the counting of the number of various military objects destroyed by the Ukrainian drones in Russia. And luckily, the Ukrainian armed forces are doing their job really well. Tonight, they have targeted another oil refinery in Krasnodar. And in general, during this January, they have destroyed more than a dozen, which is a very weak point in Russia's future and a very good step towards its future collapse. Combined with the reports of the British intelligence that January was second worst month for the Russian troops. They've managed to neutralize more than 1,000 people per day, and only last December 2024, it was worse with like 1,500 neutralized per day. Russians, you can do it, set the records. Whoa. And let's discuss how the strategy to neutralize Russian troops, to neutralize Russian oil refineries, pushes Russia to negotiations, and what do we think about that from a Ukrainian perspective. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that has already started, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. Ukrainian strategy to destroy Russian oil refineries, which are central for their economy, began in 2024. And during this year and 1 month, we have achieved a lot, seriously damaging Russian oil refining industry. But most importantly, starting 2025, we have doubled, if not tripled, the success. And there are lots of maps, including on other social media that I have, like X and Threads, that I share, with the maps of oil refineries visited by Ukrainian drones in January. And there is nothing Russians can do to stop these explosions. There is nothing they can do to repair these refineries. And if we continue at this pace, and I believe we will, soon Russia will run out of the oiling refining capacities, which is a win-win for Ukraine and for the world, because only with the defeated Russia we can return back to the rebuilding of the world order. So one more oil refinery neutralized today in Krasnodar. I'm sure more and more of the Russian population keep asking who is responsible for the protection of these oil refineries. Where is air defense? There are no answers. Some offer to start private armies. That is a good way towards the total collapse of the federation, when oligarchs will create their own armies and fight with each other. In general, this night was also effective for the demilitarization of our enemy, and we have targeted the Buk missile system that was located on the territory of the temporarily occupied Zaporizhzhia region. Buk systems are bad. Russians use them actively on the front lines, and -1 such system means more Ukrainian lives saved. Remember to join our initiative with Ukraine aid operations to back up Ukrainian paratroopers. I'm leaving the link here. And if you want to send a drone to Kursk region, that is definitely your chance. And I love that Ukraine remains strong in Kursk region. This will definitely be a good argument if we start with any negotiations with these war criminals. Personally, I don't see it coming. With all the chaos, with all the comments, with all the interviews, it seems very far away and very chaotic and unrealistic. But let me know, what do you think? How soon will negotiations between Ukraine and Russia start? Like, realistically. And remember to subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. This means a lot to me personally and to all of us in Ukraine. But while preparing for these negotiations, we keep destroying command points in that very Kursk region, just 2 in 1 week, or less than a week. Just 2. I like how optimistic I am towards more and more of these command points destroyed. These are evil centers of evil decision making, and most importantly, this is a serious blow for the Russian army. They are losing a lot of people. I am sure that these top officers were already neutralized back in 2022. They had to conscript a lot of very different people, and for 2025 they plan to mobilize more and more of prisoners, but that's okay, debtors. And in Russia, literally every person will be a debtor, taking into account huge inflation and even potential freezing of the deposits of ordinary Russians, and all to fuel the war machine. And also today, Ukrainian soldiers caught 20 or more Russian soldiers in Kursk region as prisoners of war. And we always demonstrate very humane approach to these prisoners of war, contrary to what Russians do. And whenever I read about the new Ukrainian prisoners of war returns, what happened today, this is always a very happy day, and I'm very grateful that these people are back home. And if you watch some photos and videos from them returning back home, you can see them kissing the land, you can see them hugging Ukrainian flags, reciting Ukrainian poems in a very emotional, naive way. And I think it's very important for many people to watch and to remind them that love for your country is very real, and sometimes you do need to protect it, because unfortunately there's so many good people who don't understand that and don't value what they have. Just a bit of emotions. I know I have a lot of viewers from the United States. I sometimes feel worried for you too. Don't let so many good institutions be neutralized emotionally. It may not be what you need. But returning back to my cup of tea, my country, Ukraine, I can tell you that definitely British intelligence made me happy with their report that this January was the second worst month for the Russian army. They were neutralizing more than 1,000 of their own soldiers per day. You understand that I have to be careful with YouTube algorithms. Sometimes the world accepts more violence and evil than videos that report about that. But you can guess it. In December, the situation was even worse, and they were neutralizing 1,500 of their own soldiers per day, guys. And since 2025, just like a month, they have already minused 5,000. Oh no, 50,000 since 2025. So this is insane, and that is another very vivid illustration that I personally do not see any arguments you can use when negotiating with Russia, because this is the country that has totally different mindset. They don't care about human life, something that is considered vital and most important in any of our cultures. That's why we'll work on demilitarization, and perhaps soon Russian hell army, I mean the one that is already in hell, will reach 1 million people. And Putin doesn't mind as long as he continues to be the Kremlin dictator. Anyway, we know what to do. We need to continue demilitarizing Russia. We are good at that. Just have a look how Ukrainian drones reach further, deeper the Russian Federation. And if we continue at that pace as we are working now, soon Russia will run out of oil and money. And also, we keep defeating the evil because, once again, the world resembles greatly the world in 1938. Let me know what do you think about that in the comments below. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders, conversation starters about Ukraine, sent Valentine's presents, and just good things that demonstrate your support for Ukraine. Thank you so much for following me on other social media platforms. That's important. You see so many people get influence and change people's opinions using that for the worse, and our task is to change it for the best. So I'm always very grateful when you share my videos and things that you agree with. Also join me on Instagram, on X, on Threads, on Blue Sky, and we have a good Discord community. But most importantly, I'm very grateful that you stand with Ukraine, and in this very turbulent, very challenging time, you see the difference between good and evil, and I know together we will win. Slava Ukraini!